Hey guys, my name is Nick and welcome to my channel where I cover all things entertainment. Whatever you're watching, I'm making videos about. Tubi is a free ad-supported streaming service that has so much content you could truly spend all of your time in one place. It feels like the free version of Amazon Prime because there is a ton of stuff on there and a lot of it is garbage. But I have broken down 10 hidden gem movies that you're gonna want to watch on Tubi right now. It looks like their stuff comes and goes faster than Netflix, but that's okay because that's what I'm here for. So let's get into it. Kicking off the list at number 10 is Turbo Kid, a sci-fi action adventure set in a post-apocalyptic wasteland where a comic book obsessed young man makes friends with an eccentric survivor and discovers a supercharged glove that can blow shit up. He takes this newfound weapon and takes on a tyrannical overlord that rules the land. Talk about a movie that knows exactly what this is. This movie is full of campy action and over-the-top gore. It is absolutely ridiculous, but it is so much fun. It has the pacing and energy of Mad Max Fury Road, which I'm just like, hello. If you haven't seen Turbo Kid, I think this works as an excellent summer movie, so watch it fast. Next up is Freeway, probably the oddest movie on this list. Reese Witherspoon plays a trailer trash teenager who loses everything when her crack-dealing parents are sent to jail, so she sets out to make it to her grandmother's house, her only remaining guardian. She's picked up on the freeway by Kiefer Sutherland, a predator looking to take advantage of her, and this plays out like a contemporary take on Little Red Riding Hood, but it also morphs into this revenge tale where Little Red turns the tables on the big bad wolf. It is such an interesting movie because it does not play by any formula. It totally plays by its own rules, and that makes this one of the most unique but also incredibly entertaining movies on this list, and it's pretty underseen. You're gonna want to see it just so that you can go up to your friends and be like, so but have you watched Freeway though? At number 8, I want to talk about GBF, a high school comedy about a gay teen who is outed by one of his fellow classmates, but things look up for him when all of the queen bees start competing to make him their gay best friend. It's not quite Mean Girls, but it's funny and sweet, and I like the way that it explores understanding your identity as a young person, especially in the LGBTQ community. It's underseen and it's pretty light and fun. I know I'm always suggesting all the dark horror stuff, so if you're looking for something easy to watch, well, hey, don't say I never did anything for you. Number 7 is Fultz, a psychological dramedy about a grifter type who deprograms people after they leave cults, and he is hired by a set of parents who want him to deprogram their daughter, played by Mary Elizabeth Winstead. Most of the movie takes place in this motel room as the two main characters try to outsmart one another. It borders on becoming this absurdist comedy, but that makes it a whole lot of fun. If you're into psychology and cults, this is definitely one of those small little movies that is both a thriller and a comedy in its own weird way, but it is such an interesting watch. I'm telling you, if you need something different, this will take you to the Twilight Zone. Pardon me as I inject some 90s cheesy goodness into this list. Number 6 is An American Werewolf in Paris, a horror comedy about a trio of friends traveling across Europe, competing in extreme sports, and they stop off in Paris to bungee jump off of the Eiffel Tower when the guy from That Thing You Do falls for the chick from Before Sunrise, but turns out she's a werewolf. Oh no, what are they gonna do? This is trying to be a quasi-sequel to An American Werewolf in London, which I think is its biggest mistake because, of course, there's no way that this movie would be as good as An American Werewolf in London, but I don't think that this one deserves to be considered one of the worst of the late 90s horror boom. I think it's actually quite fun, probably because I grew up with it as a kid, and this was like the first werewolf movie I saw, and it made me love werewolves, even though when I look at it now, the effects in this movie, quite poor. But this movie is a comedy first and a horror film second, and I feel like if you can get into a horror comedy, me personally, I feel like you have to sort of ride that line just right in order to make it work, and this one works for me. Maybe it's the 90s cheese, but I love it. Okay, not to be depressing, but we're gonna get a little depressing. Number 5 is The Burning Plane, a drama written and directed by Guillermo Arriaga, and it is told in different timelines from different perspectives, and it feels like there's about 4 different stories happening at once. It is a non-linear story, but it essentially is just a relationship drama about this mother and daughter, and, you know, you really can't even get into it because it's one where you're just watching these characters live their lives for a while, and there's an event that happens towards the end of the film that really frames the entire thing, and you get exactly what's going on. It's one where just go with it. If you're going along with me rambling here, go along with the movie. Let it take you on the journey. It's really depressing. Again, it's sad, but it features Kim Basinger, Charlize Theron, and Jennifer Lawrence, 3 blondes I love, giving excellent performances. I know this won't be for everyone because it is a dark drama that gets very tragic, but I don't hear anyone talking about The Burning Plane, so you know I'm gonna. Let's lighten things up with number 4, Party Monster, a true crime comedy based on the book Disco Bloodbath by James St. James. The film focuses on the club kid scene of the late 1980s leading into the early 1990s in New York City and covers the case of Michael Alec, a party organizer who murdered a man and bragged about it on television. From the true crime perspective, this movie is telling its story through the eyes of the actual perpetrator, which might not really be the best route for some people, but personally I think it works because I think it displays just how wild and crazy this person and this world was. And from a gay perspective, you do have 2 straight actors, Macaulay Culkin and Seth Green, playing these lead gay characters. But honestly, they're killing it. They're both ridiculous and bonkers, and they're so hilarious in this movie. But I think the perspective that the film is told from isn't problematic. I think this movie really does a good job of celebrating the LGBTQ plus community while also demonizing the dark side of the club kid scene. And it was the representation that I appreciated when I was a teenager and discovered this movie and became fascinated with the case. The book by James St. James, Disco Bloodbath, I remember reading that as a teenager. Oh my god, it's so good. But this movie, I think, is a really well done, if low budget, independent film. I think they pull it off exceptionally well. It is so good. It is so different. It is so crazy. You have to watch Party Monster. Number 3 is Chloe, an erotic thriller starring Julianne Moore, Amanda Seyfried, and Liam Neeson. In it, a married woman believes that her husband is cheating on her, so she hires a sex worker to tempt him and then see what happens, and things spiral out of control from there. I love erotic thrillers, and slasher films. That is my thing. That is my ish. I love it. And this is one of those underseen erotic thrillers that I can't fully talk about it because I don't want to spoil the surprises. In fact, I think the most interesting thing to talk about happens maybe a little over halfway through the movie. So you can't really say exactly what's going on in this movie, but oh, is it so interesting. It might have a bit of a weak ending. It doesn't go full Fatal Attraction crazy, but it goes crazy enough for me to be into it. And I know I've talked about this one before, so I'll move on, but Chloe. I love Chloe. Okay, let's talk about a movie that I love and I have not gotten the chance to talk about it yet. Number 2 is White Bird in a Blizzard, a drama starring Shailene Woodley as a teenager in the 1980s whose mother, played by Eva Green, mysteriously goes missing, and it's how this young woman sort of deals with the aftershocks of this event. The movie was based on a book by Laura Kosicki, but it was written and directed by Greg Araki, and I think that this is one of his best works overall. I love this movie. The soundtrack is perfect. The cinematography is beautiful. The execution overall is just stunning to me. The way it pulls off so many of these little character moments. Oh my god, just White Bird in a Blizzard. No one talks about it. It is so good. Now diving straight into the realm of true crime, number 1 is Monster. This drama takes a look at the life and crimes of Aileen Wuornos, America's most prolific female serial killer. Charlize Theron gives not just an award-winning performance here, but one of the best performances I have ever seen as Wuornos, a sex worker living on the streets in Florida, when she starts a relationship with this woman played by Christina Ricci, who I think is so underrated in this movie, and she tries to get her life around and build a life for herself, but she's fed up with a lifetime of being abused by men and begins robbing and murdering her clients until, of course, things catch up with her. Patty Jenkins did such a phenomenal job job of bringing this movie to life and adding the right amount of empathy to this horrific character. You can look at her, especially if you've seen any like true crime documentaries on Warnos. She crazy. But the focus of this movie is what makes a monster, and that is the most fascinating and interesting thing about true crime to me personally, and I just think this is probably the best true crime movie that I think I've ever seen. Just the way that it handles the subject matter overall is... it's honestly quite perfect. You might feel sick after watching this movie, but I'm here to tell you that it is required viewing. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I greatly appreciate it. Feel free to hit those comments. Let me know what your favorites are. And if you're watching Tubi, is no one on Tubi? Because seriously, guys, you'll want to get on Tubi. I just want to give another major thank you to you guys for watching, especially if you've made it to the end of the video. That is awesome. You are my favorite people. You're the best. Feel free to follow me on Instagram because, you know, I've got like nothing going on over there. I've got like 0 posts. It's whatever, but you know what? We'll be able to build a community together. It'll be fun. We'll share suggestions and recommendations. It's going to be a good time. So follow me on Instagram. Watch This Now YT. Of course, some asshole had to steal my name before I could get to it, so I had to throw in that YT on the end there for YouTube. So, you know, like this video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to my channel so that we can have all kinds of fun talks about movies and TV in the future. Thanks again. That is it for this video, but I won't stop you from watching another.